Good morning, I'm Charlotte. Welcome to Wake Up Well this morning. We're working our way through the book of Proverbs, and this morning we're looking at Proverbs 8. Now, this proverb, and in fact all of the Proverbs, are about wisdom. Wisdom really interests me because it's one of those things that is really big in the Bible and still has a high value in society today. So I wonder, when you think about wisdom, what image comes to mind? I googled it, as you do, and some of the pictures that came up were a tree, a sand timer, a light bulb, a path, a stack of books, an owl. In Proverbs 8, which we're looking at this morning, wisdom is portrayed as a woman, Lady Wisdom, and it's God's wisdom personified. So let's read the first 11 verses of Proverbs 8. Listen as wisdom calls out. Hear as understanding raises her voice. On the hilltop along the road, she takes her stand at the crossroads. By the gates at the entrance to the town, on the road leading in, she cries aloud. I call to you, to all of you. I raise my voice to all people. You simple people, use good judgment. You foolish people, show some understanding. Listen to me, for I have important things to tell you. Everything I say is right, for I speak the truth and detest every kind of deception. My advice is wholesome. There is nothing devious or crooked in it. My words are plain to anyone with understanding, clear to those with knowledge. Choose my instruction rather than silver, and knowledge rather than pure gold. For wisdom is far more valuable than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with it. So wisdom is good, it's valuable, it's worth more than rubies, than gold and silver. But if we're honest, we don't always follow God's wisdom. Whose wisdom are you following? Maybe it's your own, maybe it's the world, maybe your family, maybe social media. Particularly at this time, there are so many voices and wisdoms offered that we could follow. The good news is that if we choose to follow God's wisdom, it is not hard to find. You see, God wants to be known. And that's true in the whole of the Bible. At the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, it wasn't God who hid from Adam and Eve, but it was Adam and Eve who hid from God. With the people of Israel, God delivers the people of Israel, and he sends prophets to give them guidance. And then in the New Testament of the Bible, God comes alongside people as Jesus, as a fellow human. You see, God wants to be known. And God wants us to obey and follow his wisdom. And that's really clear, isn't it, from Proverbs 8. Right at the beginning of what we just read, wisdom isn't hidden or shy, but it starts with this. Listen as wisdom calls out. Hear as understanding raises her voice. Where does she stand? Does she stand in the corner or out of the way? No, on the hilltop, along the road. She takes her stand at the crossroads, at the busy points where the people would have been passing. Wisdom is there for all to see. In verse 3 it says, by the gates at the entrance to the town, on the road leading in where all of the people would have passed by, there she stands, and she doesn't just whisper, she doesn't just speak, she cries aloud. God's wisdom is clear. God's wisdom is everywhere. And the choice for us this morning is, whose wisdom are we following? Are we following all of the many voices that try to speak into our lives? Or are we stopping and pausing and listening for that voice of God and to follow God's wisdom in our everyday? Why would we do that? Well, at the very end of this proverb, it says a couple of things which are just really great that I'll just leave you with this morning. In verse 35, it says, whoever finds me, so whoever finds wisdom, finds life. And in verse 32, it says, all who follow my ways are joyful. So I bless you this morning to listen to God's wisdom and to follow God's ways this morning. Bless your day.